Putin is a globalist stooge. He's fighting on behalf of the globalists. I cannot believe I missed this, and I guarantee you did too, until it just hit me again in the shower. And you're in the shower, it's quiet. That's where you get your best thinking done. Or if you just sit there and quiet, get rid of your phone, just listen to what God is speaking to you. It's nuts. So I've listened to my man Dave Cullen. I put it on from computingforever.com, and Dave is freaking just a master. He's awesome. And he was talking about about the new COVID restrictions coming in Europe, and look, Europe's dead. I mean, there's just all there is to it. Europe's done. And Dave's in Ireland, and he's talking about how they're throwing these fake scenarios with the bio labs, and they're not fake, but they're just small potatoes to get the focus off the globalist agenda. We're going to focus on this stuff over here. We're going to focus on that stuff over there. All the while, the globalists are consolidating power. And what do you got, buddy? And I was like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, it occurred to me. So Putin, he's talking about how the International Energy Administration, to fight Putin, they want to recommend we don't drive on Sundays and whatnot. And it just occurred to me. I said, if you're a globalist, and then Dave also talked about at some point we're going to have self-driving taxis. They're going to be such a tax on vehicles because the cost of petrol or oil or diesel or gas, whatever, that you can only drive. You won't be able to, in car taxes and highway tax, all that, you won't be able to afford a car. Only the rich will be able to afford a car. So you have to get a self-driving taxi to come pick you up. And those self-driving taxis won't take you to the countryside because those are restricted. They'll only take you into pre-approved places that the government allows you to go, urban areas and whatnot, some pods. And it's literally out of books of like, not 1984, another book, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, where they got the Sama. I forgot. You guys know what I'm talking about. You got to eat the Sama, and you can't go to the countryside. I said, man, that's 100% true. And then it occurred to me, I said, wait. So Putin invading Ukraine is now leading people to have more ability to say, stick it to Putin by doing these things to fight inflation, to fight the high price of gas, to stick it to Putin. Let me just tell you what I'm talking about here. So here you got Putin as a world. So Klaus Schwab with Putin in 2017. Now remember, Putin was a young global leader, all right? And in 2017, Klaus Schwab said, when I mention names like Miss Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the world. But what I really are proud of now is Trudeau, the president of Argentina and such. All right, so we know that Putin was a part of the young global leaders for the World Economic Forum, as was who? Oh, yeah, Dan Crenshaw. So if Dan Crenshaw says it, just buy it, just get away. All right, so we know Putin is part of the young global leaders. All right. So Putin invades Ukraine, all right, and the young global leaders disavow him. The World Economic Forum disavows him to show that Putin's the bad guy. So how do you fight the bad guy? Well, let's take a look here. You fight the bad guy by, actually, I want to show you something here real quick. We're going to go to what's up with that right here. The Energy Agency reports urges energy lockdowns, banning use of private cars on Sundays, reducing highway speed limits, more working from home, cutting business air travel, and SUV tax. Yeah. The IEA has a 10-point plan to cut oil use. So let's just, and one of the reasons, you know why? Is because we're relying too much on Russia, the bad guys. So to beat Russia, the bad guys, we're going to have to limit our own freedom. Look, and the left, I hate to say the left, it's a globalist left. It's communist, but it's not communism, i.e. Stalinist. It's communism, the globalist left, fiefdom. They've hated independent car travel. They've hated your ability to move freely. They've hated your ability to go to pristine lands that they only want to go to. They've hated that since day one. They've hated the suburbs. They've hated it. In fact, I just got this book, Ben and My Mom, by Jane Jacobs, The Death and Life of Great American Cities. And I'm very much looking forward to reading that. So anyway, the point being is they hated your ability to be free in an automobile. Back in the horse and buggies and stuff, at least you couldn't go out to the pristine places where FDR went to Warm Springs, Georgia and whatnot. You couldn't do that because you only had horse and buggies. They actually hated electricity because only the rich people could have electricity. They indoor plumbing. I mean, they hate that for just common folk, 100%. But they couldn't get rid of our ability to drive without massive tax hikes, massive increases in gas. Now, we've known the left has wanted to do that for a long time, but they'll never get away with it politically. So how do you do that? Well, you make it so the price of the stuff goes through the roof. And how do you blame it? You don't blame it on the taxes or Joe Biden getting rid of the pipeline. You blame it on Putin. You say, look, we can't afford, there's no money anymore. It's not because of our insane government policies, it's because of Putin. So we can make Putin the boogeyman, the 2 minutes of hate. It's George Orwell and the guy who wrote the book Brave New World. That's what it is. It's the same thing. We're going to give you Sama so you're happy. We're not going to let you go to the country, but we're going to give you Sama so you're not happy, but you're content. We're going to feed you bread and circuses, right? And then we're going to have 2 minutes of hate where you hate Putin or you hate the anti-vaxxers, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. And what you're going to do then is you're going to, remember, we were always at war with Oceania until we weren't. If you read George Orwell, you'll understand. You're like, we're always at war with them. Oh, no, we weren't. We've always hated Putin. Oh, actually, no, we didn't. It's so freaking obvious to me, man. By the way, make men men again. That's from Brandon Tatum's website, which I love. Anyway, it's so flippin' obvious. So they want to punish us, they being the globalists, World Economic Forum, the young global leaders, because we're just peons, man. But they can't do it politically other than through scaring the living bejesus out of you because you're going to die from COVID, or having Putin invade Ukraine to increase the price of gas, of oil, of commodities, the whole thing. And so what you do is you say, okay, I'm going to take my 2 minutes of hate and say, I can't afford a car because of Putin. And what happens now? You're going to give you reasons to fight Putin, the bad guy. And the reasons again, and we're only, look, the reasons again right here. Reducing highway speed limits, more work from home, street changes to encourage walking and cycling, car-free Sundays, restrictions on other days, cutting transit fares, huh? Policies that encourage more carpooling, cutting business air travel, and more. Governments have all the necessary tools at their disposal to put oil demand into decline in the coming years. We couldn't get that done unless we had a boogeyman, i.e. Vladimir Putin. And Putin is part of the World Economic Forum leaders. He knows. So what he's saying is, all right, so Putin says, look, man, at the end of the day, you make me the bad guy, that's fine. Make me the bad guy, the 2 minutes of hate, we're always at war with Oceania. It's just, and then we got this idiot, Teresa, whatever her hell her name is. This chick is so stupid, man. This chick right here. She had an opinion piece in Bloomberg. I've talked about Teresa, never follow her for retirement planning stuff. She's just a freaking... She is I wonder if she's part of World Economic. Let's see here. Hold on a second. I wonder if she is part of the World Economic, a young global leader. Let's see here. Teresa Giradell. I mean, this chick is just dumb. I mean, I hate to say it, she's dumb. And it's weird because my man Andrew Biggs, who I'm a big fan of, he says she's actually a nice lady. But no, she's not when she's talking. She's anti-freedom. And if you're anti-freedom, you're inherently not a nice lady. Let's just see if she's part of young global leaders. I did have a chuckle at this a little bit while my dog is going crazy because Amazon guy. Exposed Ukraine activist who cried for UK PM to impose no-fly zone on Russia revealed as World Economic Forum young global leader. Isn't that interesting? But I couldn't tell if Teresa was part of young global leaders or not. I just can't tell here. Let's take a look here. Institute for New Economic Thinking. Let me just pause it. It's funny. It doesn't say if she's on the, maybe she's not part of the Young Global Leaders, but it doesn't matter. It's the same group of people. She's on the EPI, the Economic Policy Institute, a commie front group. And when I say commie, I don't mean like commie like Stalinist or Ho Chi Minh or the Chinese commies. I mean the globalist commies, if that makes sense. All right, so here she is, Giardelli, whatever the hell her name is. Court-appointed trustee for the Retiree Healthcare Trust of UAW, of GM, Ford, and Chrysler, and USW retirees of Goodyear Tire. So he's a court-appointed trustee for the Retiree Healthcare Trust for these private corporations. Private. And, of course, she taught at University of Notre Dame, so she's certainly a Jesuit, I presume. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know. It does look like she's part of the young global leaders, but it doesn't matter, man. Let's look at board of directors of the EPI. It's the same freaking thing, man. So here we got I don't know who this chick is. President of AFL-CIO, Julian Malveaux, the big anti-white racist. Here's Secretary Commie. Gary Bass, he rings a bell. OMB Watch, the Bauman Foundation. He received his doctorate in psychology and education. There's something else about this guy that I remember. I did some research on him. Nita Banks, Tom Conway. Yeah, I'm sure he's actually done steel mining for sure. These people are just. Oh, Keith Ellison. Jeez, man. Doesn't get much more Looney Tunes than that guy. Who's this? Nonprofit employees union right here. Just you can read these people. Robert Johnson, Roosevelt Institute. I wonder if there's any Rockefeller people in here. The American Robert Kuttner. Oh, good. Let's just see if there's any Rockefeller. No, I'm surprised. I guarantee there's a. I wonder if the Rockefeller Institute funds the EPI. Let's take a look. Typed in Rockefeller Foundation, and the first thing came up was right here. There's a Rockefeller Institute, the Rockefeller Foundation. They granted $4 million to what's this? Is this EPI? I'm not sure. Rockefeller Foundation. The Rockefeller, I can't tell, but it was right there. Where was it? It said Rockefeller. Oops, hold on a sec. Rockefeller Foundation, right there. Right there, it's the EPI, right in front of my big fat face. Oh my goodness. Geez, it's such a. Let's see about Ford Foundation, because remember, Teresa is on the board of trustees for all these, the big. It's such a freaking scam, man. Ford Foundation. Let's see if they've given any money to EPI. I'm not gonna be able to find it. Let's just see. I'm not gonna be able to tell here real quick. I can almost guarantee you they have. I'm not. I just literally did it off the fly. All right. So we didn't go back to why we're all on Teresa Girardelli's thing here. Well, she's a rich lady, man, and we know rich people. They don't care. Inflation stings for most of those with less than 300,000. More Americans than ever expect their finances to worsen as inflation is. Do you really need that extra car? Ding, ding, ding. Don't you see what's happening here? Pop Finny, stop. Hey. Don't forget, when the price of oil goes up, it's just not on the cost to drive your car. It's the cost of everything. It's funny, there's an idiot who zip-tied herself to some place to protest that we weren't doing enough to fight fossil fuels. How does she use a zip tie? With plastic. And how is plastic made with oil? These people are freaking insane. We got useful idiots for sure, but then it's all part of the big picture. So here, if you just think about it, Putin invades and makes the price of oil go way up. All right, price of oil goes way up. Everything else goes up with it. The price to zip tie yourself to protest oil because zip ties are plastic, which are made by oil. And what happens? Then we got the International Energy Administration saying don't drive your cars on Sundays. The whole thing. The Teresa Girardelli says, "Do you really need the extra car?" Let's see if she says anything about old Putin in here. I wonder if she does. Looks like she does not, but it doesn't matter. I expect those most affected will adjust to inflation the classic way by shifting away from relatively expensive items towards close substitutes. That's called the substitution effect in economics. Let's see. To deal with gas prices is reconsidering public transportation. Yeah, I bet Teresa Girardelli is getting on the New York trains at 12 a.m. I can't guarantee. When it comes to food, don't be afraid to explore. Oh, right here. Ukraine and Russia supply a significant amount of corn and barley to the world market, mainly to feed livestock for human food. They don't like us eating meat either. Meat prices have increased by 14% from February last year till now. Though your palate may not be used to it, tasty meat substitutes as vegetables, where prices are up a little over 4%, and lentils and beans were up about 9% because a 14% increase in food on meat is a small substitute for a 9% increase in lentils. Okay. Plan to cut out the middle creature and consume plants directly. It's a more efficient, healthier, and cheaper way to get calories. And stay away from buying in bulk. You usually don't have to save any. I always wonder why these people say stay away from buying in bulk. You know why they do that, don't you? Because they want you at the behest of them. They say, don't buy in bulk. That's crazy. Don't prepare. Let us provide for you. We'll provide for you. These people are evil, man. Sure, there may be great deals, but most consumers wind up falling for the tricks that entice them to spend more. Things like offering free samples, which leads to impulse buying. What does that have to do with buying bulk? Does Teresa know that most consumers fall for this? Anyway, she's an idiot, man. I mean, let's just admit that. But if you think about on top of that, if you're the Klan, I always say this about the blacks have fallen hook, line, and sinker for the not all of them, but a lot of them have for the policies of the LBJ. And if you know what LBJ has said about the blacks, we'll use a a horrible word for it, and I'm not going to say it here, to get them in line. Just look at the history of LBJ. Malcolm X said it, man. I tell you what, he said it. There's nothing worse than a white liberal for the black community. So what did the blacks do? They fell hook on and sinker for the the gifts, and now the black community is destroyed. Not all of them. There's some freaking standing firm, and I love those people. But a significant amount of blacks have been destroyed. Middle class blacks have been destroyed. The families of blacks have been destroyed. Not all of them, but a good amount has. And whites are following the suit. We're just about 20 years behind the blacks. They destroyed the family, the nuclear family. All right, they destroyed it because of big government solutions. That's what they did. The Klan could not have asked for any more bad effects on black community than what the government did. 100%. So if you want people to not drive cars, to live closer to cities so they can bicycle and take transit and walk, don't want them to eat meat. Want them to you want them to avoid going to the countryside. What would you do? You would invade Ukraine. That's exactly what Putin did. And World Economic Forum, young global leaders, he was one of them. And what happens? Now we're going to make him our 2-minute hate. He's like, yeah, give me all the hate you want. I'm back here partying up like it's 1999 with Klaus Schwab. I can't believe, it's so damn obvious. It's like if you were the Klan and you're like, look, the Klan's no longer, we can't march in Washington, D.C. and get the support of Woodrow Wilson because everyone hates us, rightly so. But we need to destroy the black family because we hate blacks. What are we going to do? LBJ will work for us. How? By welfare benefits, making sure there's no black dads around. If you're the Teresa Girardelli clans, which you don't want meat, you don't want cars, you don't want people living in the suburbs, and you've been wanting this your whole life, what's the best way to make sure this happens? Get your boy Putin to invade. And then you can say it's his fault. But we got to deal with it. It's so blindingly obvious. All right, love your thoughts. We'll see you.